The local history feature is brought to you by Gravity FM in association with Your Heritage, awarding funds from the National Lottery. See www.hlf.org.uk.
Grantham District Beekeepers have an introduction to beekeeping course starting in April each year. I'm Ella Watts of Gravity FM, and I was lucky enough to join the live hive experience with beekeeper Jeremy Wright-Jones at his apiary.
Before you come up to your open apiary, especially if it's away from your home like this one is to me, just make sure you check your equipment before you come up, and always come up with spare equipment. So checklist then really is your disinfectant bucket, bit of domestos, bit of water to disinfect your gloves and your hive tools. Remember, cleanliness is next to godliness. Bees are a hygienic creature anyway, so we need to keep on top of that as well.
You have to use bleach.
Anything that will just clean it really. So your hive tools, gloves, matches or a means of ignition for your smoker or fuel, queen cage, crown of thorns for, you don't have to have this, but if you're marking your queen, crown of thorns, we'll go through that today if we find queenie. If it's a virgin queen, you've got to make sure she's laying before you mark her. Once she is laying, you can mark her with this year's colours. You have a manipulating cloth that you can put on, but it's quite warm today, so we shouldn't use that. If it's a cooler day, you can put that on just to keep the heat in the brood. Roll it back as you examine each frame. Other equipment then, you can see I've brought out the poly nuke hives. Myself and Roy use these, as you well know, from the course of swarm collection. But what I use them for before the swarm season starts is just keeping the spare equipment in there. Foundation, brand new, so bring your extra equipment. In the back of my van also I've got 2 supers. Another thing you should bring with you really is some water, because you're getting quite warm now. Can be used to calm the bees as well, but again I normally use this on a swarm to stop them flying, but if they're getting a bit shirty, spray them with a bit of water, that will stop them flying.
That's sugar water, just plain water?
That's just plain water, but you're right, if you put sugar water in there that will calm them down as well, but be careful, anything with sugar will attract other bees, and you could start off a bit of robbing. Right, so let's light the smoker. I get all this crushed up cardboard, which is ideal really. You can get rolls of corrugated cardboard. Now they say that a beekeeper shouldn't let his smoker go out, but bear in mind when this gets hot, it does get hot. Now again, if you go into other beekeepers' hives or open apiaries, always put clean gloves on. If the bees do sting you, they will sting through the gloves. That will retain a bit of pheromone from the bee sting. You must mask that pheromone, else the bees will be attracted to your hands all the time. So to mask it, you can either get rid of the sting if it stings you, heavily smoke it, or plunge it in your disinfectant water. Someone bring that bucket for us, please, and let's go over to the hive. So the first thing we do is just come around the front, stand and look at the bees, see what they're doing, and the first thing you'd be looking for is pollen going in. And you can see pollen going in on a couple of the bees there already. That indicates that we've got a laying queen, or one of the messages is there's a laying queen in there, so we're quite happy with that. And just get the temperament of the bees. So if you like now to come around the back of the beehive, because what we don't want to do is stand in front of the entrance, because the bees can't get in, and then they will start to get angry. So, first thing we do before is take our varroa floor off. You can see all the bits in here, so there's a bit of chalk brood. Okay, don't worry too much about that. There's a big varroa sat on that there. Can you see him? That's your varroa mite.
What, that big white one?
No, the little...
Oh, the little black dot on the chalk.
Yeah, but it's not a little black dot if you're a bee. So, already now then, we know we've got a varroa. So other bits of debris you'll see is just like wax flakes, pollen. That's the pollen that's been knocked through. As I say, a bit of chalk brood in there. Just gives you an indication what's going in the hive before you go through it. And there's a bit of damp at the back there. So we'll put that to one side. And what I do is give a puff of smoke under there. Lightly puff at the entrance. Just give it a minute to settle down. And then we'll go in. Lid off, upside down. See the bees coming out of the crown board, which is okay, there's nothing wrong with that. It shows you it's quite a build-up of bees in there because they're coming out the top. You can see they're drawing beeswax on the top to make extra space to put the honey in.
Does that mean they need something extra?
They could well do. Yeah. So just break the crown board off. And now you can see them building brace comb to fill that gap and basically to glue it all down. So we'll just put him on the roof. Remember, nothing's going on the floor. And we'll just give these a gentle puff of smoke.
They are really calm, aren't they?
Yeah, well, well, what can I say? They're my bees. Now, we don't really want to go through the super at this stage, but because it's part of your first visit to a beehive, we'll take one out and just have a look at what the bees are bringing in. So there you can see nice lots of honey getting stored in there. And remember I said about the shake test, especially with oilseed rape. So once they start to cap these first couple of rows, and this is nearly a full frame, and you can feel the weight, what you do is shake it down hard, and any honey that runs out on there, you know it's not ready to process because there's too much moisture in it. If you shake it down hard and nothing comes out, then you know it's ready to process because the moisture's all gone and they're about to cap it. Can you smell the hive? It's got a lovely smell to it. And if you'd just like to feel the weight of that, pass it round. So this is what it's all about really. And you can see they're pretty mellow. Just be careful because they stick the two together with propolis and brace comb. Don't just lift it up and put it, because you could have frames stuck underneath and you'll cause all habit of mayhem in there. So just make sure all the frames are off there. Now on this one, it's another super, but you can see the building brace comb, so we'll just remove that. So here's your plate cups, you see them? So that's the beginnings of a possible queen cell, so we'll just rip one open. So there's nothing in there, which is good. I don't want her laying upstairs, I want her laying downstairs. Right, so now we're going to take off this second super. It sits on the queen excluder, so you can lift that. They've glued down, a light smoke. They're still pretty mellow. And again, before you take this off, ensure queen's not under the underside of the queen excluder. A quick check. Lots of workers, no queen. Okay, so now we'll start the inspection. So I'll take out the spacer at the back. Be careful you don't roll the bees on this. 11 frames international. You can get 12 in, but it's too tight. So that's why we use a spacer. So now what we're doing is, because we have room now, gently, no sudden movements, inspect. And we're looking on this one, you don't expect to see anything at the ends yet. They're just starting to draw this wax out. Always hold the frames over the hive, because if the queen does fall off, she's going into the hive. Now you can see on this one, they've chewed holes in it already. But they're drawing that nicely, so we'll put him back. And we move frame nice and gently. Now you can see that bee there. Can you see that one? Nasonoff gland. Can you see the nasonoff gland? That's them spreading the pheromones. And you can smell the hive. It's like a lemony smell. That's good. The lemony smell is the queen's in there and she's laying. That's the queen pheromone. So on this frame now, you can see the brood. Drone, it's bigger than the workers. Okay, now you can see there's all eggs in here. You see all the eggs? And then larvae are all different stages. And it's pearly white. That's what you're looking for. If it's not pearly white and it's grey and horrible, you've got a problem. So you can see brood at all stages, pollen, and there's a little bit of honey going in there, and they're starting to lay drone at the bottom there. Can you all see the eggs? If they're standing up, they're just being laid. If they're laying down, they're 3-day-old eggs, and then they start the larva stage. What you can do is look in some of the drone larvae to see if there's varroa in there. But we know there's varroa in there already because we've seen it on the varroa floor. So I still haven't seen Queenie. We can see how difficult it is if she's not marked because of the amount of bees. So you see there's a bit of chalk brood in this one. Now the bees will cope with that and clean them out. But if you get a lot of it, you need to probably re-queen. This one here, can you see it? Just hatching, so it's just chewed through the capping and it'll be popping out shortly. And here's one coming out here, look, you see that one? Yeah. So that's a brand new worker popping out.
So the ones with the big fat yellow legs?
There, they've got the pollen on that one there, look, and you'll get different colours. Oilseed rape, obviously will be lots of yellows, but you will get orange, greys and black pollen going in as well. All depends what they're foraging on. This is a newer frame. It's cleaner wax. The reason that the colours die down and it gets darker is because after each cleaning they polish it, and that puts the colour back into the comb. Because the more eggs she lays, the more cleaning gets done. It just gets darker and darker and darker. You can see where she's not laying, and that's where the wire is. A gentle blow shifts them out, But remember, what they don't like is the breath from mammals. There's still no queen. She's in there somewhere, but we haven't seen her today.
Do you trap any bees putting these in and out?
Yes, I'm sorry. So again, just be gentle when you put it all back together and slide them up as they come out. And obviously try not to trap any. So can you hear the volume of the hive again? Just change that a little bit more. Nothing serious though. So on with the supers. So no one's got stung. That's a Brucey bonus. So what we'll do now is quickly go through this one. So again with the Varroa floor, not much debris on there. Okay, off with the lid. Now you can see on this one, there's quite a few more bees at the top, and you can see the new brace coomb that they're building there. So it's looking good in here. So lots of bees on that. I'll probably just lift one of these frames out. There's a lovely frame of honey there, so we'll shake him. Nothing's coming off that at all. So now feel the weight of that one, everyone. I don't think it's oilseed rape. It's still running there, look. So you can change your supers around to encourage them to fill it with honey, but don't do that in your brood. Bear in mind, to draw beeswax out, they need to eat honey. If you're putting new honeycomb on, make sure there's plenty of stores in there for them to eat. So these are getting a little bit more grumpy. And you see one's just stinging me here. Can you see him stinging? Make sure Queenie's not on there. So, new frame. Leave them to one side. So that gives you the room. Again, we're just scanning now, so one can go through. This one quickly is looking Queenie. You can see another lovely brood pattern. Check in. Absolutely chocker. So here we have a cup coming down the frame now, so you want to be looking in them. So there's nothing in that one. Do expect to see plate cups. Just have a poke inside to see if there's an egg in there. You can see all the drone at the bottom. There's a big drone here. You'll see the drone bigger than the worker. People often confuse the drones with the queen because the bigger they think, oh, it's the queen. And see lots more play cups here. You see on this one where they've laid drones, when you've pulled it up, that you've just broken the cap in. And you can see, look, big fat Varroa. See him crawling?
Oh, yeah.
We'll continue looking. They are a little bit grumpy, but they haven't stung me from the initial stings. Can you see them vibrating? Yeah, they're doing the shake. That's them communicating using their frequencies. So if the weather keeps up over the next couple of days, and there's a good nectar flow on, they'll fill that. Put them all back in.
Would you then take that off now, or would you still wait till August?
If they fill it, there's nothing wrong with you putting an empty super on, and if you are going to put undrawn wax on, it might be worth just putting a feeder full of sugar syrup on there, just to encourage them to draw it. So, there you go. Any questions?
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
The local history feature is brought to you by Gravity FM in association with Your Heritage, awarding funds from the National Lottery. See www.hlf.org.uk.